So I talked about this many times over the years, and that's to do with the troubles that were in Northern Ireland back years ago, and then the Good Friday Agreement came along in 1998, just before the 2000s. And pretty much that stopped all the trouble, pretty much, more or less. But obviously, there's some issues still with obviously the Good Friday Agreement in terms of prosecutions for crimes. Take for example, Bloody Sunday in Northern Ireland, where the British Army went in and killed people. And then obviously there was atrocities committed. People were kidnapped and never turned up again. Pretty much their bodies still have been found in Southern Ireland, for example. And the Conservative government, people probably remember this, the Conservative government wanted to bring in the Tories in the UK, wanted to bring in the Legacy Act, which pretty much would cancel and all inquests in terms of murders, kidnappings, shootings, killings from the British Army, the OIC at the time, now the PSNI, and prosecutions and stuff, basically making them pretty much immune. The people, the Soldier X and Soldier, it's in Soldier X that was involved in the Bloody Sunday. They pretty much wanted to give them immunity and pretty much that they won't be convicted. But thankfully now, and again, I want to emphasize this, thankfully now, there's cooperation because the legacy bill the Conservative government were trying to push that time, there was no engagement with the Irish state in terms of what was going on, what they were doing. But it's good that the Irish government and the British government are meeting and discussing, the new version, I suppose, of the new version of the legacy bill, which pretty much means that everything will be followed. What I mean by that is investigations will continue, and in terms of prosecutions if necessary and stuff like that. But of course, it needs to be done on this side of the border too, because there was atrocities committed on all sides, and I'm sure everybody agree the troubles in Northern Ireland uh, touched everybody pretty much in on the border region, for example, in Cavan the fear of walking out your door being bombed. That's what was happening in Southern Ireland and along with Northern Ireland. And not only that, so many people were killed. In majority of cases, innocent people that had nothing to do with anything. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And people deserve answers, and particularly, as I say, many times you heard me say about the Beltumba bombing in 1972. Nobody's ever been found who done that. We still don't know who done it. We know there was three people involved. We still don't know who done it and why they did it. And it took two innocent people to their graves, and two young innocent people to the graves. It's something that always should be followed, because we have to find out what happened in terms of who done it and their names. Um, but of course, we have to make sure that because again, there's so much hurt within families of people that were disappeared. As we would say in Ireland, people that disappeared, that were kidnapped by the IRA or kidnapped by Ulster Unionists, the UVR, etc., etc. But it basically, I think everybody can agree that the trouble in Northern Ireland over years ago achieved nothing for anybody. It caused more pain and suffering, and still to this day, there's family members, and I know some too, that were hurt and impacted by bombs and were impacted by different things during the trouble. Although people were kidnapped, belonged to them, people disappeared, awful stuff. And particularly being from a border region, Cavan and Monaghan, people understand that a lot more than they suppose down in the west of Ireland, Cork and way down south, because obviously being on the border, it's hard to believe that nowadays you can cross over from the Republic of Ireland to Northern Ireland without any checks and stuff. But that wasn't the case over 20 years ago. There was checkpoints and stuff, and probably should be checkpoints to this day, but I'm committed, and I'm sure everybody agree it would benefit no one to be told having a checkpoint on the Irish Southern Ireland and Northern Ireland border, because it just caused probably trouble to arise, and I think it's best for everybody in the island that doesn't happen. But yeah, my main thing is that I do hope that every prosecution and every investigation is followed through, because at the time when the Conservative government wanted to bring this in, it was hard to know would anything ever be found out in terms of acts that were committed, murders, bombings, etc., etc. And as I say, with Bloody Sunday, and in other instances, the British Army was involved in war crimes. And of course, there was war crimes committed on both sides, and that's saying it straight. There was war crimes committed on each side, but it's about healing the wounds of the conflict, because the conflict is long since past, as takes with a god. But it's about healing the wounds, the family, the people that were affected, people that were kidnapped, tortured, still to affected to this date, etc. They deserve answers, and the general public deserves answers that people who commit these crimes will face prosecution. But yeah, so hopefully, as I say, no stone will be left unturned, because particularly, as I say, it's the truth needs to get out there in terms of these cases, and hopefully that it will continue, because we learn nearly something every year about what happened in Northern Ireland throughout the Troubles. But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe more. Let me know what you think, because it was insane to me that the Conservative government in the Tory party in the UK were going to bring this forward. It was insane. I don't know why they wanted to do that. It was insane that they would basically grant immunity to people that committed war crimes and stuff. It was insane. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.